Hey, friends, it's Heather, and welcome back to Now What, y'all? This is where I take the time and we get real about building businesses and ease in your life because we need them to go together. Okay, so I think we're talking about something today that you might find to be, well, I'm hoping that it will completely change the way you run your business once it clicks. Okay, ready? Your business is its own living and breathing entity. Say it with me. Your business is its own living and breathing entity. Okay, say it one more time. Your business is its own living and breathing entity. Now you may be thinking that's silly and foolish to say it over and over like that, but there's actually a real point because once you realize that your business is its own separate thing, you're going to start making decisions differently. So way back, well, not so way back, but back when I owned eBay Design, my design team and I were having a meeting, and I was talking about how I wanted to launch a new line of solid color pillows. And my design team was like, they were flat ass 100% against it. And they were like, no, there's already so many of the solid colors, blah, 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 blah. Nobody's going to buy them, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, except see, I kind of don't think so. And I'm going to, I listened because that's what you do when you're a leader, you listen. But I also did my own homework and I looked at numbers and I looked at, top ranking solid color pillows. And there was something I noticed. There wasn't a good navy blue pillow. They were all either really dark or they're a little more royal blue or a little this or that. What was missing was just a good old fashioned navy blue pillow that was basically kid proof and would go in a lot of places. So, having said that, I said to my team, hey, we're going to move forward. And we were really deliberate with the colors that we chose because I wanted to make sure that we weren't just duplicating what was already there. Okay, so we're going to fast forward 3 months, and that navy blue pillow, our 16 by 16 inch, became the best selling pillow, and it stayed that way for the next 18 months and stayed in the top 10 the entire time I owned the company. So, key learning here, the team wanted to make the decisions based on their gut feelings, right? And that's fine. There's a place for that, but really you need to make your decisions based on data. When you look at the data doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. And I think that's the single biggest difference between running your business with emotion versus information. It's like it's separating, the varsity from or the JV from the varsity, right? From the person who has a business to the business owner. Okay. So when you start making your decisions based on information, it changes like everything. And most small business owners, they they say that they look at their business analytically. They say that, oh yeah, my business is separate from me. But like, y'all, come on. The reality is that most small business owners treat their business like it is an extension of their identity. Like you are your work, you are your business. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about because you probably have identified with that. Or maybe if you have a spouse that's in corporate, they're all wrapped up in their identity in that position. And so a lot of small business owners, we do the same thing because we've put, so much time and energy and effort into building that business. But it's not that, right? And so if you treat your business emotionally or like it's an extension of your identity, then every critique of that business feels like an attack on your person and your personality, and you take it personally. So here's my advice. And if you only listen to one thing I say, Do not run your business by emotions. Let's start using numbers and data. Because when you start running your business by using numbers and the data that your business provides, you are running the business, not the other way around. So I like to say, and I look at it like your business has its own heartbeat, its own needs, its own thing. And it's my job as the founder of the business to listen to what the business needs. Like that's a twist, right? That's a completely different way to look at things. So let's talk about like where are ways that it can you need to maybe shift how you look at things. So maybe you have a team member that's no longer a good fit. And deep down, you know it, like that gut knows it. But here's the thing, if you start looking at their productivity and you pay attention to the numbers associated, you are going to feel free because you're making a decision not based on your emotions. You're making a decision based on analytical data that can back up what you're getting ready to do, which is to let the person go because it no longer serves the business. Or maybe you have a product or a service that you love, but it is 100,000% draining all of your resources. And letting go of that feels like it's a failure. That's not logic, y'all. That's emotion. When you're emotionally entangled with your business, you can't see what it actually needs to survive. It's like, okay, it's like this. It's like when you have a friend and they're in a relationship and you know it, and everybody around them knows that this is a terrible relationship. But the people in it, they're too in it and they can't see that that relationship isn't good for either one of them. That's what can happen when you let emotion run your business. So let's go back to the solid pillows. My team's gut feeling was wrong. The data, the numbers were right. Numbers don't lie, but gut feelings do. I feel like that should be a Dolly Parton song. Is that somewhere? If y'all know, holler. But numbers don't lie. And listen, I'm not saying ignore your instincts because instincts are powerful, but instincts without information, you're just guessing, you know? But when you combine the instincts with the data, the numbers, the information, man, that's something powerful, right? So for example, business owners do this all the time. Your gut says, oh, I think people want to buy XYZ product. And I know I have done this. Like I have done this and done this and done this. And the business says, yeah, but here's what they actually are buying. Like this is what they're actually paying for. You may want to sell them, the most glorious decorative throw pillow, but what are they really buying? They're buying the navy blue one. So you gotta meet your customers where they are, not where you think they should be, right? So it's like if you want to really become an excellent leader for your business, then you have to let the business speak. And that language is usually is numbers. It's numbers, right? And you have to be there to listen to it. All right. So you're probably saying to me, yeah, okay, great. So yes, numbers need to run my business, but I suck at numbers and I don't know how to read a P&L. I'm going to tell you, you are full of baloney if you tell me you do not know how to read a P&L or you don't know numbers. Because I can guarantee you can tell me how much your grocery bill is each week. You know how much your mortgage is. You know how much your car payment is. You know what your electric bill normally is. You know what you're paying for Netflix. Those, my friends, are all numbers. So all you have to do is look at the items in a P&L just like the rest of the numbers in your life. So pull up your P&L. That's your profit and loss statement. I'm assuming you knew that, but look at what is actually selling. What are your real expenses? Do you have enough sales that you're really covering enough of your expenses? And then also, if you really want to take this to the next level, do this in combination with a time study, because then you can see where's your time and energy also being drained, and is that causing a drain and a pull on the cash flow. So after you do that, I want you to ask, kind of hit the hard part, which is, are you still holding on to things that don't make sense because you love them? Maybe they were your idea, or you feel guilty letting it go. And if any of those three things are what's leading you, that's going off of emotion, not reason. The minute you can separate those two is when you start making CEO level decisions. So, like I said, every week I like to kind of give a little homework and all of that. So, this is what I want you to do. I want you to look at your numbers and, well, I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to that in a minute. Hold on. I think it's important to actually point out, yes, I can beat the drum of numbers, 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 but I don't think I've done a good job of like really giving you the benefits. Like why? Why should I get to know my P&L? Why should I know my balance sheet? Why should I know the productivity numbers of everybody on my team? Well, because that's how you can evaluate different offers that you may have objectively. You can make strategic pivots. You're not just ping ponging around, based on what you think might be. When you get feedback from somebody, either on your team or a client or a customer or whatever, you can take that feedback, and it's not personal. It's a business conversation. And then you can apply that feedback in the way that is best suited to your business. Um, yeah, I think that's really, and it'll help you realize that you should not be getting your self worth from your business. Your business becomes the vehicle for your freedom. It's not who you are, right? The one thing I always talk about is, how do we make life easier? How do we make your business easier for you? This is it. Follow the numbers, man. It doesn't get any easier than that. It gives you the freedom to make the calls, hard choices, freedom to pivot, and freedom to experiment with things that make sense financially. Your business is not your baby, it's not your identity, it's an entity. And it's your job as the founder to keep it healthy. And that's where the real ease and peace come from. Okay, so I started to talk about an assignment. Pull up your P&L, grab yourself some water or a tea or a coffee, and pull up your P&L and look at it with a whole new eyes. And I want you to ask yourself three questions. First, what is my business actually telling me? What decisions, that was one. Number two, what decisions have I been avoiding because of how I feel about them? And the third one is, where am I letting emotion override financial reality? That's a biggie. Those are three biggies. Okay. So ask yourself, what is your business actually telling you? What decisions have you been avoiding because of how the decisions make you feel? And where are you letting emotion override financial reality, financial sense? So your homework is, when you look at your P&L and you ask yourself those three questions, I want you to then make one decision, just one, based purely on the numbers that your business is speaking to you. Maybe that's, you need to have a price increase. Maybe it's, you need to expand, and add a colorway to your bestsellers. Maybe you need to drop that product line that wasn't working, or that service that wasn't working, right? It may feel a little uncomfortable, and that's okay. but discomfort is growth. And your business is that own living and breathing entity. It needs the oxygen of data and numbers to thrive. Okay, that's it. I'm done preaching. I know, I'm sorry. If all of my friends and business friends, this is the thing that I think if they said, oh, you would have one thing tattooed on your forehead, I think this would be it. I feel like so strongly about it. So if you think you have friends who might need to hear this message, another entrepreneur or someone, do me a favor. Can you share this with them? And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. Um, I think I think it'll be a great journey for us. All right. Bye, friends.